my name is Nicholas Mudimba and this is WTV News. It's been a very busy week as far as news is concerned. From Mashujaa to, of course, more captivating headlines. We've compiled for you all the details on today's news.
As it was expected, President Uhuru Kenyatta's toughest as far as security is concerned and was the center stage of his speech during the 51st edition of the Mashujaa Day celebrated at Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. The recent attack by the Al-Shabaab and youth recruitment was heavily condemned. Uncovering of such act is a priority now for the intelligence team with hope of neutralizing the Al-Shabaab sympathizers.
As we undertake these efforts, let us also take the time to honor and to celebrate our men and women in uniform who serve at home and abroad. These patriots who daily risk their lives to bring stability to neighboring Somalia by waging war against a ruthless organization. Some of them have paid the ultimate price in the line of duty. As their Commander-in-Chief, I call on you to join me in honoring them all. Our best tribute to them is to make sure they feel our gratitude.
The Nyumba Kumi initiative was again given a surprise green light. The need for transparency in public sector was also another stressing point from the president. Corruption and self-benefiting scheme were put on notice by the president. According to the president, education will also be boosted by the new 140 megawatt power plant, which will also reduce the power rates in Kenya.
My government will intensify efforts to stamp out incitement. We will insist, with every legal tool at my disposal, that the use of public pulpits by all leaders, teachers, preachers, and imams be lawful and focused on building national cohesion.
Among those who were also present in the ceremony was Deputy President William Ruto, who was also positive as far as development of transport and communication sector is concerned in the country. The improvement of social amenity will also play a bigger role in development of less grown areas in the country.
We too should also play our part by denying criminals space to operate. This will be achieved by our participating in the Nyumba Kumi program. Since its inception, numerous plans by extremists and terrorists have been foiled with the assistance of Kenyans. Our country will become safe, neighborhood by neighborhood, through the involvement of each and every one of us.
Despite the nature of celebration, leaders were still put on notice to take accountability in their leadership in order to improve the lives of the future generation. A lot of Kenya will now be expecting more from the government, courtesy of the optimistic speech and positive assurance from the leaders. And as Kenyans continue to count its blessing, all eyes will now be on factors such as security, high living standard, and the overall health care of the common mwananchi.
The design to be applied mainly in rural areas will see Kenya Power use fewer cables and poles to connect households to the national grid. Lower cost of connection is to be realized through the use of single, thinner and lighter cables as opposed to the current system that uses 2 or 4 cables to connect domestic consumers. Kenya Power is also planning to cut costs by using smaller poles that will be spaced 100 meters apart instead of the current 50 meters. Kenya Power Managing Director Ben Chumo says the distributor will save on every aspect, and this will bring down connection rates within the 600-meter radius to an average of 30,000 shillings from the current 105,000 shillings. The use of the new technology comes as the Jubilee government races to meet its target of connecting 1 million new customers to the national grid in the fiscal year ending June 2015. The twin obligations of meeting set government targets and shouldering the burden of higher connection costs had left Kenya Power in a fix, especially after government withdrew a 2.7 billion subsidy it had offered to plug the financing gap between the market cost of 105,000 5,000 shillings and the 35,000 shillings paid by consumers living within 600 meters radius of a transformer. Now, the single wire earthing return system or design is a framework that uses the earth as the return conductor. What that means is that metal rods are dug 2 or 3 meters into the ground to provide the ground connection. Now, experts say that this method not only cuts costs associated with the material, but also labor and transport. And that also helps make the development of the network faster. Reporting for WTV News, my name is Zawadi Mudibo.
Kenya's informal sector boasts of having up to about 10 million people who, like their counterparts in the formal sector, need insurance services. However, not all Kenyans understand the need and importance of having an insurance cover, more so a life insurance. Abel Munda, the managing director CFC Life, explains.
You may have the right products, but these are not people you sell to as you sell to somebody who is employed and whose contribution is going to come by way of salary savings or salary reduction. So how do you access the people in Gikomba, for example? How do you access the people who are in the villages, the Juakali artisans, all these people? You must have the right distribution strategy to be able to reach those people. Otherwise, you can have the right solutions, but if you can't access the people, it shall be no good.
With over 65% of Kenyans being under the age of 35, insurance companies are challenged to come up with products that serve the needs of the country's youth.
As an insurance company, do we have the right products? That is what we constantly ask ourselves, and we do carry out surveys. What kind of products should we have for the youth? What kind of products should we have for these young people?
With claims that the insurance industry in the country has suffered due to lack of bank assurance, CFC Life Managing Director says that even with the current legislation, insurance companies partnering with different banks must be able to understand the kind of products sold in order to work together.
And the model of bank assurance that we seem to be rolling out in this market is where the banks own insurance agencies. So they sell through their insurance agencies. And I know of at least 10 banks that have done this. But it does take, there's a bit of a lead time because there's need for the insurance organizations to go and train them. So each bank may want to partner with a respective insurance company or companies, but they must be able to understand because the agents are theirs. Most banks don't want insurance agents to be the ones selling their products. So the banks want to own the agency relationship. So if they want to own their agency relationships, they must be trained on our products.
This was said during a media workshop held by the CFC Life Group, where they announced plans to rebrand to Liberty Life Assurance Kenya Limited. For WTV News, I am Irene Galgalo.
It is a service that people around the world would take for granted, but in Somalia, for the first time ever, residents can now withdraw money from an ATM in their capital, Mogadishu. The cash machine was put up by Salam Somali Bank, which has been operating in Somalia since 2009.
We launched this ATM in Somalia because there's a great need that Somali people really want, and we are planning to install more ATMs in the whole of Somalia in coming months.
Salam Somalia Bank's ATM service allows customers to withdraw using Visa, MasterCard or American Express.
It's a good opportunity for Somalians to have an ATM in Mogadishu because it was too hard to withdraw money from MasterCard or Visa, and this shows how our country is making progress day after day.
Commercial banking in Somalia disappeared in the early 1990s when the country plunged into more than 2 decades of civil war. Now the African nation of 10 million people is working to rebuild from scratch. About 40% of all Somali families rely on remittances from other countries. Western money transfer companies such as Western Union Company and MoneyGram International do not serve most parts of Somalia. This leaves the significantly cheaper and more informal money service businesses to serve as intermediaries between the foreign banks that make the wire transfers and the intended recipients of the money. The ATM services provided by the Salam Somalia Bank are a sign that the economy is slowly taking shape. With plans to roll out more cash machines around the country, Mr. Olo feels confident saying that it is time to expand their business. Despite the stability troubles in Somalia, Salam Somalia has seen the need to improve the lives of its people. Reporting for WTV News, I am Marianne Njeri.
That's all we had for you this Saturday. My name is Nicholas Mudimba. But before we part ways, be sure to catch the new Tune magazine in all leading supermarkets. And if you get one, you can go, of course, the latest edition. You can go to the puzzle page where it's all about breast cancer awareness puzzle. And if you're able to hack it, we'll serve you with a 3-month Tune magazine subscription here from the WTV. I'm Nicholas Mudimba once again. Have a great night.